How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry again that my lighting, audio, background and everything is off for this video. If you guys didn't know, I'm getting kicked out of my house and I have to move. So I'm in the middle of moving and that's why I haven't uploaded much on YouTube, but you will see more of the background of what's happening on my second channel. If this is the first time of you ever hearing about my second channel, please click the top link in the description down below and subscribe, because at some point in the near future, I feel like this channel in general, Mike Fox on YouTube, is probably going to get deleted because I have a couple of community guideline strikes due to the content that I make. Not that I've done anything wrong, some people just don't like it. So in case that happens as well, make sure that you subscribe to the channel that I have linked down below. I really do appreciate that. But not as much as I appreciate everybody on my Patreon account. If you want to help out the channel in any way, shape or form, head over there. There's going to be more content posted in there soon that won't be on YouTube and only specifically for my Patreon followers. Without them, this content wouldn't be possible. Most of these videos aren't monetized and YouTube doesn't really earn me any money personally. So the Patreon sort of pays for my editors and lawyers every single time that I do one of these catches. Without them, it's just not possible. So a massive thank you to those people. Now, without any further hesitation, let's get into today's video. I don't know who the original uploader was from this video because the channel that I found this on is a second party upload channel who tries to purely monetize themselves without giving any content or, you know, transformative changes to the video, as I try to do. Not very well sometimes, but I do try. If you guys do know who posted this original video, please comment it down below so I can attach their link in the description of the video as well.
Do you know roughly how many children you're speaking to or not?
So don't you think, as you just said, you've got a camera on the police and probably that part should go to.
Well, this goes straight to the police. So what happens is this body cam gets downloaded and it goes onto a disc and it gets handed to the police, and the footage from my phone gets downloaded and it goes to the police. It's basically, if he jumps up at me...
Yeah, I know that.
I know.
So as you can see from the start of this video, it seems like the child predator catchers in this case are from Newcastle or the surrounding area based on their accent. They've entered the property where a elderly man and woman are residing, and my guess is, without any context of text messages or anything like that, that they've invited this child, or who they believed was a child, to their actual house to do some unsavory things. As they are both in the house and they're both within this video, and neither of them are acting as if it's one person and not themselves, I believe that they're both liable for every criminal charge within this, and we'll get into that later on to see if blame is pushed onto the other, because it normally is.
PTSD and everything.
The questions, were you in the army?
Yeah, 21 years.
What were you doing in the army? Rifleman. I must admit, you don't look very well, like.
Not well, I'm really ill, man.
Yeah.
I've had many tablets, many sections twice.
Have you?
Yeah.
So do you know this? Do you know Mark? You know the name Mark Mason?
Of course I do.
Obviously, you don't go by any other names.
No, sir.
All right, mate. All right.
So the way this man is acting, he's obviously not acting as if he's at a normal capacity to concentrate or think. He's doing a lot of this and a lot of what I would call anxiety-ridden movements. I don't believe this is due to a medical illness. Again, I'm not a doctor, so don't take me on my word with this. But to me, this just looks like somebody who's either having a panic attack or trying not to have one. He's just been confronted in his own house doing something that he definitely shouldn't have been doing, and he doesn't know how to act, is how I see this. Being an ex-army veteran, there are sort of different mental disabilities that people get post-service. None of those, though, I believe, induce child predatory behaviour. So it's not something that I believe can be blamed or even considered under his service.
Just asking the question, mate.
Man, man, you know who I am. In my lounge. Come on, get me ready.
No, I will, mate. Like I see, you've admitted that you've admitted that.
Hey, come on, lads, I'm being...
I know you are. You're being alright.
What do you want me to do?
Nothing, mate. We're just going to wait here for the police. Like I see what they're asking you questions because they just need to make sure that like I see, you are friends with somebody on...
I don't know, check my messages. I've never messaged him once. If you sent me a friend request, I'd answer it, I'd say yeah.
Yeah. But the only thing I've done is ask the question, haven't I?
You can hear in this section that he mentions if somebody sends me a friend request.
If you sent me a friend request, I'd answer it, I'd say yeah.
I don't believe this is the right way to go about these cases. I know that my opinion and my experience is a lot different to a lot of other child predator catching groups. In my personal opinion, and just generally how I've always done this, I find it very hard to... What's the best way to describe this? It's a very stressful job messaging these people full time and knowing that you have a part in ruining their life. You have a bit of guilt always with every case, at least I do as somebody who is relatively, empathetic. The less I do to push them into a crime, the better I feel about what I've done. If I've egged them on and I've initiated all the sexual conversation and I initiated the original conversation and I actively sought his profile and added him as a friend, I always find it hard to, well, I've never done it because I would find it hard to deal with that, knowing that I had a very serious role in somebody's life going to this. I understand that it is deserved and these people need to be prosecuted in a court. If I never felt bad about it, there'd be something wrong with me, if that makes sense. So the way that I've always done this is I've allowed them to message me first. I allowed them to initiate all the sexual conversation. I allowed them to add me first on Tinder, WhatsApp, whatever. I just respond as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old. I never seek people because it doesn't sit with me morally. And depending on where you are in different countries, if you do seek people, as in add them on Facebook and send them a first message, it may be seen as entrapment. Potentially because of the entrapment laws, these cases might be thrown out and real children that these people are speaking to might not get safeguarded and they might get away with their crimes. So I think it's better and more responsible to just allow these people to come to you without you seeking them personally. That's one of the reasons why I don't have that many predator capture things on my channel, because I don't push for it. I don't message people first. I don't spam loads of men. I just allow them to come to me. And the ones that come to me, I don't feel bad for because they've initiated everything. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir, but I haven't. The police would check it, I haven't.
That's fine.
I don't know.
It's like I say, the person, we'll not mention his name, right? Because obviously this will obviously go to the police, but the person that you're friends with on Facebook is someone who is involved actively in recruiting children for grooming.
No, I don't.
That's fine, that's fine.
No, f***ing way, man.
That's fine, that's fine.
No, f***ing way.
Right, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, you have still been speaking to children, telling them how to masturbate, and you've also been telling her that you whack off all the time.
So if you look at these two different reactions, the first one being the realization that he's friends with somebody who actively seeks children to exploit, it's a lot different to the reaction to him being confronted with what he's done. This leads me to believe that he didn't actually know that this person that he's friends with on Facebook is doing, maybe to the extent of the things he's doing. He might know that he was up to no good, but he might not know to the extent of that. But you can definitely tell a difference between how he's acting. Again, when this goes to the police and they have a forensic analysis look at this and a body language specialist, they will probably see that and just discard that as evidence. It's not necessary to him. The other thing I want to mention here as well is his wife is just sitting in the background. She's not reacting to this in any manner like it surprises her. This leads me to believe as well that she either had a hand to play in this entire sequence, or she's known for years and doesn't care. Again, based on the evidence that's collected, she may be heavily involved in this particular case, or when the police come and confiscate their laptops and phones and all of this, they may see that she is also doing this. But she doesn't look like she didn't know, which means that she's probably an accomplice to these crimes.
So two wrongs don't make a right. You've still been speaking to children in a sexual manner and asking for pictures of her in a school uniform and skirts and all sorts. So just because he's recruiting children and you're speaking to children sexually doesn't mean to say that he's worse than you or you're worse than him or he's better than you and vice versa. Yeah?
I understand what you're saying here, but on the grand scheme of things, especially when it comes to legal cases, somebody actively recruiting children for sexual exploitation is considerably worse than somebody who messages a minor for sexual purposes. Obviously, one, actively luring children to do these things, they're gonna have a lot more charges on their criminal record and a lot of a longer sentence. Morally, there's maybe not much of a difference, but legally there definitely is.
Do you want some more water?
No, I said that's not water.
Can I put my coat on, get ready, because I'm going to go down to the police station.
As soon as the coppers come in, they'll get your medication, your coat, your shoes, everything. For the time being, I don't want you to move from where you are because I don't like, I don't know you, so.
I'm going to tell you.
Well,
He ain't in a state to do anything. Look at him.
right, but he might self-harm.
So what he says here is reasonably good. He wants to monitor the situation to make sure this man doesn't do anything stupid, as in damage his own body beyond repair. But he also wants to make sure that this man's not going off and seeking a weapon to use against these people to make an escape, because it's a possibility and is always in the back of your mind regardless of who you're catching. As there's multiple men in the house confronting this couple, depending on how many there are, it may be a good thing to send one of them off to collect medication if he needs it urgently. But if there's only two of you, then obviously it's not something that you should concern yourself with too much. Your main concern is keeping yourself safe and making sure the police get here and arrest these people. The last thing you want to do is jeopardize the case by being by yourself or something like that.
It's not his state to be a threat to you, that's what I meant.
He's not a threat to me.
Yeah, but that's the point I was getting
I
across.
don't.
Because of how he is.
What I'm saying is, what if he goes into the bathroom and cuts his arms?
I'd go with him.
Well, I know,
You'd
but
not want no one to go in with him, but I would.
I understand that, but I've got the duty of care because I'm here now. No disrespect. You've been spot on with me, and I appreciate it. I really do. What we need to do is we need to remember why we're here.
Man, I absolutely love this guy. He says something really important here that I want to replay.
I understand that, but I've got the duty of care because I'm here now.
I have the duty of care. I f***ing love this. So many times I come on this channel and I look at a video and all I see is people clearly doing stuff wrong to just make the most out of it for YouTube. This person is acting in one of the most professional manners that I've ever seen on the YouTube Predator Catch, and I genuinely want to find these channels, so if you guys know who this is, please comment it down below so I can pin it. For him to know and for him to be professional enough to understand that in this situation his main job now is to make sure the police come and to make sure that nobody is harmed is massive. A lot of the time you will see people just yell at the top of their voices in a store and people end up getting assaulted or something like that, or someone goes back home and kills himself, or like something bad happens, right? And they are not only morally responsible for that, sometimes they're even legally responsible. So I absolutely love the way that this guy's running this channel, and I love the way that he's running this catch. That little sentence says a lot about someone.
Don't we? Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
If
you said about duty.
I've got much better things to be doing on a Wednesday night. I've taken a day off work.
What I was making.
You've been in the forces, I've been in the forces, he's been in the forces. You know, if one of my fucking lads who I'd fucking been to fucking Afghanistan with had been doing shit like this, I wouldn't be fucking happy, like, you know. Yeah. I've had to drive up and spend £80 on fuel, right, to come up to here to deal with this.
What I was making, you mentioned about duty of care.
Yes.
You've got duty of care.
Yes.
When this gentleman, sorry I don't know any of your names, this gentleman asked the question and you said, what did he say?
She mentions here that she doesn't know anybody's names. Technically, as somebody who isn't employed by a state or a government or a, you know, independent authority, as it were, we don't have to legally give our name at any point. I normally do at the beginning of my videos, mainly because I know they're gonna go to YouTube and it sounds good. Like, hello, my name's Mike Fox. It means that nobody can rip off my content without them acknowledging it's me, if that makes sense. But when it comes to doing these things, you don't have to say your name. So her asking, they can ask all they want, but he doesn't have to, like a police officer would have to share his badge number. And if you don't want to share your name or your address with other people, why not use Surfshark? Surfshark is a VPN service. If you don't know what a VPN service is, it stands for Virtual Private Network. This basically creates a barrier between you and hackers and bad people like this accessing your personal information when you're browsing the internet online. It lets you change your IP address, which is sort of your online identity, as it were. It tells you near enough exactly where you live. You can Google now and search, what's my IP address, and it'll be pretty accurate. I use a VPN service to hide my IP address whenever I message somebody like this. and I give it to all of my family, so when they're browsing the internet, they have that extra bit of security protecting them while they're browsing the internet. Not only does it give you extra security, it gives you a load of other benefits, like accessing Netflix in different countries. If you didn't know, UK Netflix and American Netflix are completely different. So for the same subscription fee a month, you can access twice the amount of shows. If any of that interests you, make sure you click the link in the description down below. Purchase Surfshark using the code FOX to receive 83% off your order and 3 months extra for free. Yes, if you go through me and use the code FOX, 83% off your order and 3 months for free. That means you're paying 17% of what normal people would. And you get extra months for free. Check it out now, link is in the description down below.
Said leave me alone. I was making with duty care.
Yeah.
She's just brought up.
Yeah.
Mentally, his mental health, he needs to have a few minutes to calm down before you ask anything else.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
That was the point I was making.
Yeah, well, when it says like
You can
leave
get
him
what I
alone,
meant.
like he should leave the kids alone.
No, I meant for a few minutes to calm down.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna, you know.
I'm not having a go. I was making a point.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
If
fine.
he's not
That's fine.
with his health,
But like
he needs
some of
for
the,
the minutes.
some of the things are what you've been saying that like are pretty
I said,
disgusting.
yeah, but at the minute, can you give him a couple of minutes to
Yeah.
back down? Well, not to back down, to calm down.
I hope they don't do this, and there's a couple of reasons why I hope they don't. If they leave the house and leave these two people to it, they can corroborate a story and come up with a excuse to who did this and why they're not legally responsible, and they can both match their story in this few minutes. And when it goes to interrogations in a police cell, it's going to be harder for the police. That's the first reason. The second reason, like they mentioned before, you don't want them to do anything like damage themselves beyond repair while you're there confronting them about this. Technically, you don't have a legal duty of care as somebody catching these child predators, but the last thing you want is for somebody to do something like that on your watch and on your actions, because technically your actions of catching these people are somewhat related to the eventual self-damage. At the least, it's going to be days of, you know, making statements and interviews and all of this, and at the most, depending on how you did your case before, and let's say there was a legal slip up and he wasn't going to be prosecuted, you may even be liable for manslaughter. So don't leave him by himself, wait for the police to come. You can sit in the corner and not say anything, but never leave them by themselves.
We do understand what you're saying. In PTSD, I've got friends who've got PTSD. It's not a very nice thing.
No.
Alright? But at the same time, I've travelled 80 mile,
I appreciate that.
right? Because Mark Mason
Because
just,
you're not going to get sense out of him at the minute for questions, are you? He needs to calm down to answer questions.
right.
The kids get sent out, man.
Just to make a point, PTSD doesn't stand for preteen sexually disordered. It stands for post-traumatic stress syndrome. Nothing about PTSD would create anything in your brain to make you want to actively touch children. It's an excuse, it's not a good excuse, and it won't hold up in court. Unless he was found insane, and if he was found insane, he wouldn't know right from wrong. And clearly throughout this, he knows right from wrong, which makes him legally competent, which means that he will be sentenced to this regardless of his PTSD.
Right, and like I said to you, we've been very amicable.
I know.
And
I'm not being nasty with
I know
you.
you're not. I know you're not. You're being spot on. But there's certain things that I need to know. Okay. Because there's other people that are obviously friends with him on Facebook who I'm looking into at the moment. He's the police now.
So the video cuts off here and you can see at the end of the video, Mark Mason, the man in this video, was arrested. Wendy, his wife, was also arrested. They were found to both be grooming underage people. If I had to rate this video on a scale of 1 to 10, this is by far the best one I've seen. I wish that I had the evidence prior to the catch to look at, but based on how they've represented themselves, based on how they've conducted everything here, I am under no question to assume that they did anything other than what they were meant to. This is by far the best catch that I've ever reacted to on YouTube. And if we find out who these people are, I want you to spam some fucking love. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay safe out there. Peace.